It's time for our March reading wrap-up. In the month of March, I completed reading 8 books. So the first book that I read in March was 𝖘𝖔𝖉𝖎𝖆. I had gotten this book for Valentine's Day, and I had read an Anna Huang book before, so I kind of knew what to expect. I was kind of interested to see what this series was going to be about. I was curious if it was going to be different than her Twisted series, and it wasn't. It was, but it wasn't. This book was a little more involved than Twisted Love, but I still enjoyed it. We still had our very powerful MMC, and we had an FMC, in this situation, arranged marriage. As you can tell, there are lots of places that I highlighted. This book is pretty spicy. Oh, hi, Mira. As you can tell, I did enjoy this book. I rated this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I rated it 5 out of 5 peppers. Very, very spicy. The next book I read was Bloodmark. I've actually ordered this book off a book outlet alongside the first book, Legendborn, and this was a 5-star book for me. The first book was a 5-star book for me, and it was so amazing to be able to continue the story. I did use 𝖘𝖔𝖉𝖎𝖆 as kind of a palate cleanser, but I was ready to jump into this one. Please hold. Okay, so where was I? This is a 5-star read, just like Legendborn was. I really enjoyed it. Never has a book left me so speechless. I had to sit, I had to simmer, I had to wait, I had to collect my thoughts, and I could not write a review right away, but I was totally obsessed with this book and I was ready to jump into Oathbound. I believe I gave this like a 1 pepper rating for spice. Legendborn and this book weren't very spicy. This is a YA read, so it's more of a closed door situation. After reading Bloodmark, I had to cleanse the palate again. I tend to just go back to regular romance to cleanse the palate, and I wasn't really excited to read this book or finish it, but I felt obligated to because I did read It Ends With Us, and I did want to know what happened in the rest of the story. I was curious what would happen between Lily and Atlas. This book hit me pretty hard. It spoke on a lot of situations, and it was pretty tough to read through this book. So if you want to continue this series, just please make sure you're checking the trigger warnings so you don't get blindsided. I rated It Starts With Us 3 out of 5 stars and 3 out of 5 peppers for the spice. Then Oathbound came out. Highly anticipated release for 2025. I was so excited to jump into this book. I got it right away. It is a hardcover, and my other books are paperbacks, but that's okay. Enjoyed the book thoroughly. I rated this again 5 out of 5. The spice was a little spicy this time. I did rate it a 2 out of 5, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the series. The ending had me shook, and I am still not recovered from this book. After reading Oathbound, I needed something a little more lightweight. I found a book by Lynn Painter called Better Than the Movies. It's a YA read, and it's about 2 high schoolers, neighbors, enemies to lovers, close proximity, and I read it in a day. I consumed it in a day. It was an easy book to read. I would recommend it. It was a very cute book. I rated Better Than the Movies 3 out of 5 stars because after reading Oathbound, it was a tough book to live up to. I did rate it 1 out of 5 peppers because there was just some things happening. After reading Better Than the Movies, I wasn't ready to jump back into a fantasy book yet, so I hopped on over to 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆's book, Love Theoretically. I have read 1 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆 book at this point, and it was Not in Love, which I hear is more of her spicier side, and so I did want to see how that compared to some of her other stuff. So I rated Love Theoretically 3 out of 5. Again, hard to compare to Oathbound. And the spice was pretty spicy, 3.5 out of 5 peppers for the spice. It's good rom-com, good lightweight feel-good story, protective MMC, and it was a solid pick. I'm glad I read it, and I may or may not have 4 more on hold at the library right now by 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆. The next book I had read in March was Book of Azrael. I think I got like an Amazon published edition. There were some inconsistencies within the formatting of the pages, but you know what? I still read the story. I still loved it. Did rate this book 4 out of 5. It was not a 5 out of 5 stars for me, and it was a little confusing because I'm pretty sure the big book girlies, they ranked this one pretty high, so I went into it with high expectations. I did enjoy the story, I did enjoy the characters. It was a very interesting read. There was a lot at stake. It was a lot to digest. The pages were very dense in words and content, so it was a good read. I would like to read the next book in this series to see how it goes. see what happens to Diana and Liam. But it was a good book, and I would recommend it. 3 out of 5 peppers actually for this book. I thought it was going to be a lot spicier than it was, so that was surprising. And the 8th and final book that I read for March was Funny Story by Emily Henry. As you guys can see, I go from fantasy to fiction, and this one was a really good book. I did love the main characters. Miles was really great, Daphne was adorable, and I love that she was finding herself throughout the story. I've read Emily Henry books before, so Funny Story, I kind of knew what to expect with that. Gave Funny Story 3.5 out of 5. Now that's pretty good for a fiction book. And 3 out of 5 peppers for the spice. This book did have some spicy scenes, so prepare yourself for that. This book had a forced proximity trope, grumpy sunshine trope, and found family. If you love growth in characters, you should definitely pick up Funny Story. That's everything I read in March.